welcome back to season 2, Sandwich Stories. And today, usually they say that when we begin something, you should have something sweet, or for that matter, desserts usually is the last of the course. But somehow we are just starting today with this is just a hint basically that I'm giving you all who our guest is going to be. So something to do with desserts and sweets and all sorts of confectionaries. So we have Megna Jain in front of us. How are you doing, Megna Jain?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Going good. So tell me, Megna, what is Dream a Dozen, right? Dream a Dozen is the business that you have begun.
Yes.
What does it do? What kind of products do you offer?
We started as a cake and cupcake business back in 2018. It's been nearly 7 years, and now we are a gourmet gifting brand.
Okay. So gourmet gifting. So you're basically looking at gifting, to across festivals and across corporates, those kind of
Yes,
things, right?
yes. So we have been doing corporate gifting for quite a few years since the pandemic, actually, since people started working from home. And then our clients came and said that, we can't do these cakes and cupcakes in the office because nobody's coming to office. So if you have something that you can ship pan India, then let us know. So we've been doing gifting for them. But what we noticed is that the season kind of takes off during Diwali and then a little bit Christmas and then kind of dies down after that. And but now we want to diversify and do gifting for more target markets. So what we're looking at next is weddings. I think that's a very exciting market. And we also have a new collection that's the Desi Gourmet collection, which has a lot of Indian flavors, which will go with the wedding market. So yeah, very excited.
Wow. I'm catching on two things you said. One is the Desi collection and weddings.
Yes.
So wedding cakes basically is something that has been a tradition, in fact, now in India as well, right? From a long time.
Yeah.
So I think you had started these things as a cup, mainly D2C kind of a thing where you directly deliver to the customers upon request.
Yeah.
But were you into wedding cakes, baking wedding cakes at a previous point of time, or was it
Yes.
just
When
something
we started, we took every opportunity that came. So whether it was wedding cakes, cupcakes, stalls, catering, dessert tables, there's very little that we've not done.
Okay.
But then now, as we've completed 6, almost 7 years, I've come to realize that it's important to niche down. It's important to become known for something, which is why we picked one category and we want to run with it.
That's nice. So basically, you've just tried your hands in everything and then saw which would suit you best.
Yes.
So let's just go back in time a bit. Okay, like so you said 8 years back, 6 to 8 years back. So what made you think about this at that point of time, basically as a thought, right? Like I mean, so you could also elaborate a bit about where you started from. How did you prepare yourself for to venture into this? Was it like a choice, conscious choice, or was it like you said, it was just like I wanted to explore things and see how it goes, or what kind of a...
Yeah, sure. No, so it goes way back, much before I started the business. Even to school, at that time we had to do an accounts project, and I wrote an accountancy project on a girl who started a bakery. Okay. And it was, the name of the bakery was Patisserie Perfections, and I was very excited about it. Took it to my accounts teacher, and she was so encouraging. I was very surprised. I thought every accounts teacher wants their student to be a CA. But things picked up, and then I went for a baking workshop in my apartment. I just really like to bake. Really like to eat, which is why I like to bake. And then once I went to college, I realized that I have some extra time to kill. What can I do? So I started baking at home, taking it for my classmates, seeing if anybody will buy. To my surprise, quite a few people would buy. So I would bake it on Sunday evening, take it on Monday morning in the BMTC bus. I would carry all the cupcakes and the frosting and sprinkles. Yeah, by myself. Wow. And then what happened was I did that a couple of times, and one of our teachers found out. And she was like, "What are you doing?"
No, but at that stage, were you thinking business or just like
We did give it a name.
Okay,
It was called the Cupcake Booth,
nice.
and it was three of us. I used to do all the baking. My friend at that time, Facebook was more popular,
Right.
so she opened a Facebook page and did our so-called marketing, and another one did our account. So three of us did this, and so once we started selling in class, and then the teacher told us, hey, you can't be doing this. Then we started supplying to the cafeteria. Then another teacher said, why don't you go for business plan competitions? When we went there, we started winning some of them. uh, the amazing thing about business plan competitions, at that time they were called B plans, now it's something like Shark Tank, where the judges were investors. So if you won something, they would invite you. So we got invited by Indian Angel Networks.
Wow.
They said they'll be willing to incubate us. But I was like, I don't know what is this equity, you know.
At that point,
At that point of time, I was like 17, 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll just finish college and then we'll see.
Huh.
But that was a time where we started taking ourselves seriously and say, hey, we can actually make a living out of this because somebody else seems to believe that we can. And so maybe we should take ourselves seriously. So that's how it started.
Oh, wow, crazy.
Yeah.
So in your case, the product worked, isn't it? That's what I'm able to infer from it. The product worked, and then that's why, like you said, your teachers showing some interest in it is what got you into it. So now the three people you mentioned, right? The core, basically. I don't know if I may ask this question. Are they still with you in your current operations?
No, they're not. No, I mean, the one who was doing marketing, who did marketing at that time, she works at Google. Still my best friend. Another one, she's doing finance in the US.
Okay.
Still my best friend.
Now, why I ask this question basically is to understand. Normally they say for a business to sustain, you have to have your warehouses and your core team, right? So okay, in that case, just a bit about how things have evolved, like now, right? Like from that period. Okay, so you had started with that, and then you saw opportunities in the market during that, and I believe you would have also passed through COVID, isn't it? So, what kind of differences did it bring in your approach to the business at that point of time?
So essentially, after I did that, I graduated and worked in the food industry because I did BCom. I wasn't from the hospitality background. I didn't know anything about F&B, and I felt like I should learn. Once I worked for about a year and a half, and then I got training at a bakery. And then 2 years after graduating, I said, okay, I'll start on my own now. 2 years after that is when COVID hit. So I was already 2 years into the business when COVID hit, and it was a time when we had moved to a small commercial place, and from there we were kind of like having a lot of problems with that premises.
Okay.
So we decided to shift to a bigger place.
So this is premises is for building a factory, right?
For a cloud kitchen.
Okay.
It was for a cloud kitchen. We hired our first employees there. We used to deliver from there. It was basically a 2-bedroom house, 500 square feet, small place, and then moved to a larger space because we were having trouble over there, and the business also was doing well. 2 years into it, found this 1500 square feet place, and as soon as we were supposed to open that, COVID hit. So we just moved, and in 20 days we were going to have our launch, and we moved on 1st of March, and 23rd of March was the lockdown. Yeah.
So in terms of business, did you make any changes, or like the number of sales, or in your terms, right? Like orders, was it increasing at that point of time, or
during COVID?
Yes.
So it was interesting. So as soon as we went, because rent became triple, and we were supposed to have this big launch and big noise about it, and we had called these bloggers, and it was supposed to be a launch and very, very exciting time. But because we were shut, our shutters were down, there was zero sales.
Got it.
Once we came back, the food industry was a tricky industry in COVID because trust was a big factor that was lacking. We ourselves didn't know what was right, what is wrong, what are we supposed to clean the table with, some different type of sanitizer, something like everything was new. We didn't know, and so we would ask our other friends in the F&B business. And then once the festive season came, which is what I was telling you, that our corporate clients, they said nobody's coming to office. So no point in sending like cupcakes, tarts, brownies and all in office. If you have something you can ship pan India, then okay. We didn't have at that time, but we were like, okay, if this demand is there, opportunity has come, let's figure it out.
Okay.
And we made sturdier packaging, long shelf life products, and shipped it. We figured out shipping pan India. Now, figured out is, I mean, in retrospect, we figured out, but at that time it was a nightmare. We got into business with the wrong courier people. They started blackmailing us. There was all kinds of like things that went on in that season. But because we were able to cater to a much larger market at that time, sales actually doubled from the previous year.
Okay.
So COVID in that way was good because it opened an opportunity we would have never tapped into ourselves.
But cost-wise, I mean, because you said you have to think about different things, right? Like supply chain now is going to expand, couriers, vendors, you have to pay. So cost-wise, you would have increased your prices also, right? At that for someone who's pan India, like an order which is pan India.
And it was a new product.
Okay.
So there was no question of increase or decrease. It was just a new product. But I mean, these kind of businesses you charge on actuals. So you say, okay, whatever the shipping cost, it depends on the pin code. And basis the list that you give me, if a company has 400 employees, they'll have 400 pin codes. So at that time, it's impossible for you to predict what your courier charges will be.
Right.
But then you say, okay, these are on actions, whatever my charge is, I'm just going to charge you the same thing, but I will give you this additional service to make your life easier.
Okay, got it. So it was like this separate and then the product separate.
Yeah.
Okay, so now when you're talking about the actual cakes, right? Give us some information about how the whole process of making a cake, because the last time I tried baking a cake, it was pathetic. The whole house was almost on fire, and it was like a stone. So any tips? Any tips for the home? Someone who's trying to do something at home and things like that.
Actually, the barrier to entry to this industry is very low. Because you can get an OTG in 5,000 rupees, and that's practically your only investment.
What is OTG?
OTG is oven toaster grill,
okay,
which is basically your domestic oven. It has 2 rods on the top, 2 rods down, heating rods, and you place your product in the middle, and it'll get baked from both sides. It's like a hot box, and it gets cooked that way. So it isn't very hard. In fact, it's quite ironical because everyone thinks because I know how to bake, I also know how to cook. But I think cooking is very difficult in comparison to baking, because baking you're literally given a formula. Right? You say, okay, 1 teaspoon this, 1 teaspoon this, 100 grams this, 200 grams this, mix it together, and you will get your product. And so it's actually very easy. Everything we make is eggless, so that is tricky for certain products. But we've kind of understood what the replacements are in different recipes and maneuvered around it to a point where nobody brings it up with us. Like somebody who doesn't eat egg can also eat our product. Somebody who eats egg has no problem with it at all. So,
So if you're preparing something like this, right? I mean, you would have some kind of this R&D also in some sense, right? Like wherein you try to create new products.
Recipe trials.
Recipe trials. So were there any happy accidents or like something which you kind of cracked and then you're
one of our most popular flavors right now, which is the besan laddu cookie.
Okay.
We were actually trying to make something else, but we didn't have all the ingredients for it.
Besan laddu cookie. I'm hearing this for the first time. And you said desi in previous.
So it's part of our desi gourmet collection, and it got literally made by mistake because we didn't have everything that was required, and so the chef just took some alternatives and put it and said, okay, we'll see how it comes out. And when it came out, she didn't tell anyone what it was. So she just asked everyone to taste. And a couple of people in our office started saying, oh, this tastes exactly like besan laddu. And so it just became a besan laddu cookie, and then it evolved into something amazing because then we took inspiration and made a rava laddu cookie, and then all kinds of things. It became a whole collection. So yeah.
Nice. So basically these kind of gifts is what you're trying to, I mean, that's what you target to give away, isn't it?
Yes.
So I'm pretty sure Diwali would have been I don't know, you name the word. How was Diwali?
Yeah, no, I always call Diwali. a jackpot season.
Huh.
You can either hit it or miss it.
Okay.
Every year till this year, we hit it out of the park. This year, my father often says either you succeed or you learn. This year, I think we learned.
Okay.
It was not related to our recipes, but we were trying something in the sustainable packaging space, which didn't work for us. And that was my biggest realization, that 50% of a gift is packaging, because it is about what meets the eye first. You have to, you're putting an impression out there, and the giver and receiver are different. For the giver, it's a representation of their reputation, their status when they're giving a gift to someone else. But the packaging didn't come out as we had expected, which really messed up our season, messed up our profits, our relationship with clients. It was a nightmare.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but since you said you're also handling packaging, has it been the practice from the beginning, or is it like?
We have to, right? Because
Okay.
if it's a gift box, you have to pack it in something.
No, why I asked? I mean, what I was trying to wonder is, was there any option for you to outsource that particular thing, like
So we don't manufacture the packaging.
Huh.
That is outsourced. We get the boxes from elsewhere.
Okay.
But the boxes that we ordered, the intention we had behind that was different from what came out. The finishing, the colors, the material, everything was different from our usual quality, because I wanted it to be sustainable. And we tried to use, instead of the regular glue, she said that we were using tamarind glue. We were using sustainable colors, so food grade ink, better paper that comes from forests that are meant to have trees that give paper. There is no illegal deforestation for paper. So there were many small things in those boxes, and the intention was really good.
Got it.
Unfortunately, it just didn't come out the way we planned. Yeah.
So when you decide on these kind of themes, right? Like basically, the way I see it is, it's a kind of a decision to move into a different way people perceive you, right? Because when you talk about sustainability, somewhere you're bringing in sweets with sustainability, right? So I'm really curious to know how that thought even came. For example, I mean, you would have had the regular way it was going, right? So what brought you into this kind of a mode?
I think it's more of a personal value than to look at it as people will perceive us as sustainable, so they'll pay a premium. That was not my priority, because I know the market is not yet ready to pay a premium for sustainability.
Okay.
Very, very few people are, and we don't want to be limited to a niche brand. So it was a personal decision that I just felt that as a business owner, I have the ability to impact something, and this is what I owe, whatever, society, planet, whatever. So yeah, I think that's
but when you said premium, right? They're not ready to pay at this point. How much of a premium are people ready to pay for gifts and confectionaries for that matter?
It depends from occasion to occasion, right? So if it's in a wedding itself, if you think about it, right now I'm speaking to a lot of wedding customers, and they have 10-15 people for whom they have a budget of 2,000-3,000 rupees, and then they have 100 people for whom they have a budget of 500 rupees. It's a very normal thing, because you want your closest family to get the best gifts, and then you want the other guests to get maybe something that's on the okay side. So these are all affordable luxuries. They are not like out of the world, like some the next XYZ brand.
So there would be a lot of customization involved, right? In your case, from what I remember, I mean, I have also ordered cakes from you, if you remember.
Yeah.
So there used to be a lot of customization. People used to come with different requirements. Now
you ordered the Ferrari cake. Did you order some?
I wanted a cake which I cannot really.
Okay. I feel like I associate your name with something in cars.
That's nice. I mean, I'm glad we all have a little bit of not the highest memories. What kind of when an order comes, what is, just take us through the steps that happens, like one after the other.
It depends on the product,
Yeah.
but I'll answer your question in terms of cakes.
Hmm.
So cakes are very skill based. So when we say skill based, it's the art of the hand, your wrists, your fingers, how well are they practiced to move the nozzle a certain way, to write the letters a certain way, right? So customization, in a way, is inversely proportional to scale, because scale happens in standardization of processes.
Right.
So while you can charge a huge premium for customization, and in India, even someone who is middle class, upper middle class can afford a customized cake, and they demand a customized cake because labor is cheap. That is the reality of the market here.
Mm-hmm.
Abroad, you cannot have that level of customization on every cake because labor is very expensive, and so skill is expensive, so customization becomes expensive. So if I was to take you through the process, you ask, say, for a Ferrari cake,
Okay.
right? And you find a photo on the internet. Now, it's becoming even more complicated because of AI. So now there are AI generated cakes, and then customers expect that you will be able to make exactly the same. So many customers say exactly the same. But these are not machine made things.
Yeah.
These are handmade things. So because of that, no two chefs can make the same Ferrari
The
cake,
same way.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Even if they're making a flower, it can't be identical. Right? So for that reason, customization is tricky. We came away from that. We did focus a lot on it in the first 2-3 years, but for me, my ultimate thing for the business is I want to build a business that will survive after me. Right? If I die, the business should not die. And I know that if it is people and skill dependent, then the business will die at some point of time. So I want to go towards standardization, want to go towards scale, something that we can replicate and become the next McDonald's, next whatever.
Got it.
So, yeah.
Which is why which is the core reason why you moved to the gifting kind
Yes,
of
so
an approach.
in gifting, you can also customize, but the customize will not be skill related, right? It might be, okay, the curation of products, I want you to put my favorite something flower from something in this, right? Or I want you to print a photo of me and the relative that I am gifting to in every box, and I want to sign it myself. Dear Tata, Tati, thank you for coming to my wedding. Very cute photo. This is a very common practice in wedding gifts,
Yes.
right? So people will ask for that type of customization. Now, of course, that also has chances of error because you don't want to give Tata Tati's photo to Pata Pati or whatever, but it's not skill based. So for that reason, you can still set up SOPs and make it replicable.
Okay.
You can customize there. You can customize the package. They can have the wedding initials. They can have the logo or hashtag or whatever. You can have a sleeve on top of the box. So in that way, we can customize and also scale. So that's how I see it.
That's very on point actually, because like you said, scaling is what will make your business grow. But at the same time, on a customization thing, it's gonna be hard. So you have completely moved out of it right now, isn't it? Like, I mean,
no, we are still doing some of it.
Okay.
We don't take very complex customized orders. Things like fondant and all, we anyway never did, but even like we don't do it at all. We do some simple customizations. We call them in our language edible prints, which are nothing but your photo cakes and things. So easier not to go wrong with them. So what happens is, for me, as the business grows, there'll be some churn, and if one chef leaves, it doesn't matter because the output will be the same if it is coming out of a machine, right?
Got it.
So for that reason, it just makes sense.
Right. So the thing is, there was a period where that photo cake was a big thing at that point of time. I think 2012 till 14, I think.
Perhaps, yeah.
Then beyond that, I think everybody started thinking, like, as a consumer, I'm saying, to gift. If I want to gift my friends on our friend's birthday, I would like to order this kind of a thing. So I think that is when probably even you had come in at that point of time, from my own personal understanding. But then when that had come, right, that printing to this had come, this when you say that the chefs are require a lot of different skills,
Yeah.
how do you hire these people? Actually, basically, there must be you started. So one good thing is the product, like how to bake a cake, which is very essential for any entrepreneur. They need to know their business in and out, craft in and out.
Yeah.
So now, when you're hiring these people, what kind of things do you evaluate on? Like,
So ours is a slightly different business, which is also why that skill thing becomes difficult, is because we want to give employment to women from lesser privileged communities.
okay,
And pastry as a field is a very expensive field. So a 6-month course can be like 3 lakh, 4 lakh rupees. Not everybody can afford that course. And definitely not somebody who is like 10th pass from a government school, right? But we are giving employment to these girls and women who have most 95% of our workforce, for them it's their first job.
okay,
And we try to make it flexible for them, because a lot of women, they get married very early, they have responsibilities at home, so they need to, they don't get job opportunities. Either you are a domestic help where you can do 2 hours here, 1 hour here, but there's no job security, paid leaves, no benefits over there. Or if you're slightly more educated, then you do a teacher's job where you come home, where your kids come home. But these women may not have those opportunities. So we hire them, we train them on the job, and then our junior sous chef and stuff, she is from a hospitality background. She is properly trained, her education is there, her techniques are there. So she is able to then pass on the knowledge. We have come up with certain SOPs. We take videos, we make sure that we're showing them the videos, we teach them how to use the equipment. We need at least basic literacy in English so they can read the recipes. So there are certain requirements, and then we hire them and teach them on the job. And because it's a skill-based job, many people, because of practice, their hands actually become better than even somebody from a pastry school.
Okay.
Because they are doing it 1,000 times. Versus in a pastry school, you only do it for 1 week and then you move on to the next topic.
So, because you said that, I assume there would be very less attrition as such, because since you're building them from scratch, isn't it? So
it's a tricky thing. There are definitely a lot of success stories of people who've been with us for many years. Their lives have changed. They came to us when they were 18, 19 years old. At that time, it was time for them to go to college, but their parents or their mother didn't want to put the girl in college, right? Because they want to educate the boys instead, right? We had someone like that. So by the time she left, 5 years later, I got her a job in a different place. And she was the highest earning member in her family.
Okay.
Because of how much she learned. She used to run the kitchen. She used to be able to do everything. She then got her friend from the government school. Now she's completed 4 years with us. There is another person, she is deaf and mute.
Okay.
She was a classical dancer. Her guardian came and said that she has performed in London, she's performed in Delhi, but she's never been paid for even one performance. So I want her to learn a skill with which she can have financial independence, she can stand on her own feet. So I said, okay, she's deaf and mute, but otherwise she's fully aware, right? Her hands work, and this is a skill-based job. So let her come, and then we taught her, and her finishing is one of the best finishing that I've seen on cakes.
Wow. So, I mean, talking to you, I get the picture that, you give a lot of importance to more than the business, the value of things, right? Like you spoke about sustainable packages and, hiring also at this level. So that's very appreciable, and great job on that. So now, when it comes to the actual core business, right? Like, you would be having different target groups, isn't it? Like you said, corporates is one,
Sure.
and the rest of them. So, speak to us a little bit about who all you target, as such, who you see as your potential customers or leads, and then how do you reach them, basically? How do you, let them know that you're there? And I mean, you can also cover how much of that loyalty program kind of a thing would be there, right? Retaining your customers as such.
Yeah.
So, are you thinking in those lines in any way, or how is that?
I'll answer your first question. Like I said, we literally took every opportunity that knocked on our door. So some people came to know us through stalls that we did, some Mela and some apartment, some college. I might have spoken at some place and they saw me in the audience and then they kind of like ordered from us. The, we didn't have focused target groups, but if you look at corporates alone, I said, okay, Diwali gifting is a peak season, but how do I make sure that I'm able to leverage this relationship and give them other services that they can take throughout the year? Right, so then we said, hey, we also, by the way, do workshops for employee engagement. So we do baking workshops. We'll do cookies for your pantry. We'll do your month-end cake celebrations. We'll do your new joining hampers. So we found out everything that the decision maker over there, which was an HR or admin, might require for their employees, and how can we fit into that picture?
Okay.
So in every group we made different use cases where we could pitch ourselves. So that's in corporates. Then for individuals, we said, okay, we'll do your of course birthday, anniversary. So we've had some people who, from their wedding to then their baby shower, their baby's first birthday, fifth birthday, we've literally done every milestone. And they've taken us along with them, right? Because they trusted us so much. So in some places we've strategically done it. Some things have just organically happened. So that's that.